Hi friends, I'm Jake.
And I'm Miss.
And we're Board Down Under. Today we're having a preview look at Keep the Heroes Out, which is a fun, lightweight dungeon defense game. It's cooperative for 1 to 4 players. It's designed by Luis Brueh from brueh.games. Hopefully I didn't butcher that name too much. Let's check it out. The objective here is to keep the heroes out. Funny that. But out of what, I hear you all virtually ask? It's a good question, friends. Out of your dungeon. So in this game, you've got a dungeon, and heroes are going to spawn randomly throughout it. And they're going to try and steal your shiny treasures, which is a bit cheeky. But stress less, because you and your fine friends are going to take the roles of monsters. And you're going to use these monsters to keep the heroes at bay.
Out, Jake. Keep the heroes out. Before kicking off, players will need to choose a dungeon scenario to play. Each scenario adds variance to the game by changing the initial tile layout. It also adds a fun and unique little challenge to provide a bit of extra consideration along your game. For example, you might be playing with some overdue library books that an angry librarian is chasing you for, and failing to return them, well, he'll prevent you from being able to craft scrolls and set additional heroes upon you.
Standard to most deck building games, players are going to draw up 5 cards and try and use most of those in their turn. Now, these cards have a number of symbols on them. Each symbol does something different, but the most common ones are moving, attacking, and pointing at things. Moving lets you move a meeple into an adjacent room. Attacking lets you bop a hero on the head and remove it from the board. And pointing at things lets you activate either your monster's special ability or the special ability of the particular room that your meeple is in. These icons can be performed in any order across any number of the meeples that are on the board. This is really cool and provides a lot of flexibility during the game. Each room has an ability that'll let you usually generate a resource or craft one of those resources into a useful item. This is represented by a card in the deck builder's market. For example, you might try and fetch a frog from the sewers, and then take it to the witch's cauldron and boil it up to make a lovely potion. Or you might need to dig up a bone from the cemetery to feed it to a pet in the training room to add it to your little menagerie.
Oh, look at this little fella! Oh, I want him!
Carney's here playing Pokemon. Gotta catch them all.
I mean, you're not wrong. I've got a spider, a chest, a mole, and I'm about to have a little eyeball.
The deck building aspect of this game goes a long way towards reducing the weaknesses of your monster's starting deck, which is really cool. But it's actually not critical to your success in the game. It's a nicety for sure, but your starting decks are pretty strong, and depending on player count and the difficulty level that you're playing on, you might only get to pick up 2 or 3 of these before you basically transition into full-time damage control. Finally, there's a room that allows you to build more traps, which are like a big fat nope to anyone trying to enter your dungeon. And a prison that allows you to capture the dastardly heroes before they actually enter your dungeon. And this lets you draw 3 bonus cards for that turn. But it does come at a risk that all those other heroes in your prison might break out and beeline for your shinies. So it's a bit of a push your luck mechanism.
So you're going to spend your turn moving through the dungeon, clearing out the heroes, setting traps, and if you've got any actions left available, you can be generating some resources and crafting those resources into new cards for your deck. At the end of your turn, you're going to draw back up to 5 cards, and then the heroes are going to take their turns. To do this, based on your difficulty level and the point in the game, you'll draw 1 or more cards from the guild deck and spawn the heroes in the depicted rooms. Heroes have special abilities that happen as they spawn, but for the most part, they're going to be doing one of either dying to a well-laid trap, attacking a monster, opening a chest, or moving towards the treasure room and repeating the previous steps. When a hero enters a room that contains other heroes, those heroes are going to reactivate and perform those above steps as well.
Yeah, and this all seems perfectly fine. Until it doesn't. This game has a habit of making you feel in control 1 minute and then putting sweat on your brow the next. And it's incredibly fun when it does so. Now, if the heroes manage to reach the monster's treasure room and open up that final chest in the middle, the monsters, aka you and your buds, are going to lose the game, and everyone's going to be very, very sad. But if you manage to hold off the waves of heroes as you go through the guild deck 2 or 3 times based on what difficulty you're playing, then you're going to win. The monsters get to keep their shinies, and everyone rejoices. So let's find out what Miss and I thought of this game.
So I'll start by saying I love the way this game looks. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Luis, the designer, is the one who's done the art as well, and he's done a fantastic job. It's so cartoony and cute and fun and a little bit silly. How could anyone not love what they've done here with that? I think it's just, absolutely beautiful and really draws you into the game at the start.
Yeah, I agree. I think the not only is the artwork just absolutely stunning kind of across the board, but I think it works with all ages, and I think that goes into, like, the game itself isn't a particularly heavy game, and so I think it's to its own, credit that it can be basically accessible by, a family. I think, the artwork is amazing. Yeah.
But I guess the artwork leads into the theme, and I think the artwork does a good job at tying the theme in. What were your thoughts around that?
Yeah, so again, the whole, everything around this kind of package in terms of artwork and theme is humorous. Like, you look at the, some of the cards and that sort of stuff, the artwork on the scenarios and the rule book, it's all not only, gorgeous and lighthearted, but the humor is there as well. There's every scenario that you read has, funny, quirky kind of stuff in it. The actual cards themselves, the illustrations are funny and enjoyable. I like the theme from an aspect where you're in a dungeon and, you're the monsters and you've got all this treasure that presumably you've stolen from, up above and that sort of stuff. And now there's heroes coming in to steal that treasure back, because what do heroes do other than, beat up monsters and loot things, right? So I like that as a theme as well. But then there's these small tie-in themes, like you're going to craft a potion. How do you craft a potion for your deck? Well, you take a frog from the sewer where frogs, live in the water, and you take it to the witch's cauldron and you create a potion from that. Even these small crafting things, they all tie in together. And I really think that the theme, despite it being such, kind of a lighter game, the theme here is wonderful.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's just enjoyable to play, really.
Yeah.
Another reason I really enjoyed it was the asymmetric powers with the different characters and the range of characters we had to choose from, and how differently each character actually plays out because of those differences. They have different decks, they have different powers, individual powers, and also just different number of meeples and characters you get on the board is different, and it really just created a lot of fun in the game and made you think more about who do you want to play and who should other people play, making those different groups. Each
monster felt different. It felt fun to play. The starting decks that they have are themed around what's that monster going to do. Each monster has its special ability, and it really makes each monster kind of feel different. I believe the campaign's going to bring in even more of these, and that's great. I'm looking forward to that.
Looking forward to seeing that for sure.
Yeah. I'm waiting with bated breath to see what other monsters come through. The other thing I really liked is the scenarios. So we got to play with, I think it was 3 scenarios were set up for us to try. And again, each one feels quite different, and I enjoyed each one. It has this quirky little, it's not really a side objective, because your objective is to, survive. Protect the treasure. But, it adds this little challenge into each one, along with the different layout and that sort of thing. And I think across, the different monsters that you can pick from, the different scenarios that you can pick from, as well as the difficulty levels that you can choose from. I think there's kind of plenty going on that you can play this over and over again.
Was there anything else you wanted to discuss, or anything that didn't really gel in the game?
So the one thing, so thematically, I think the game's, fantastic. The one thing that didn't really gel with me all that much is the prison mechanism that's kind of involved there. So we kind of touched on it very briefly, but in your turn, you're able to, once per turn, you're able to take the top hero from the guild deck and place it into the prison, and there's a chance there that you might cause a breakout and release of the other heroes that might be in the prison. So it's risky to do this, but you get rewarded by being able to draw 3 cards. So in that turn you get to play 8 cards from your hand, so you get this nice powerful turn. It works as a mechanism in the game. It works really well. It allows you to speed up, especially that first kind of round through the guild deck where the game might feel less frantic. It allows you to do more powerful things, and it allows you to sort of speed the game along. So from a mechanism point of view, really, really fun. Also in the later stages, we had a couple of games where it came down to the wire, and it really was you kind of have to either take the risk of, do you want to see where the next thing's going to spawn, or do you want to send it to the prison, because it could literally win or lose you the game, depending on which one you have, and that's this anxious tension that's really enjoyable. But thematically, for me, it didn't really make sense. Everything else on the game, you've got to be on the tile to actually sort of interact with that tile special ability. The prison, you don't have to be on that tile. You can just kind of do it from anywhere. And it just felt a little bit disjointed. I'm not sure how I'm sending a hero that didn't already exist in the dungeon, to the prison right away. So I think it's certainly not, a terrible thing by any means. I think, as I said, the mechanism works really well from a gameplay perspective. It just thematically felt a bit, I don't know, not really tacked on, but yeah, it didn't gel with me, as you sort of said.
Sure.
Yourself, is there anything that you had that you wanted to mention?
Yeah, I think I really enjoyed playing the game. The one sort of downside was just sort of the downtime between turns. So I found it really hard to pre-plan how I was going to use my cards and what I was going to do, just because that board state does change so drastically from player to player, and you don't know, where the heroes are going to be. You don't know what resources are going to be available and where different things are going to be on the board. However, saying that, I don't think it's all completely a downside, because it meant that I was more engaged with other people's turns. It meant that I was having to focus on what they were doing and how they were leaving the board, so that I'd be able to pick up and have my turn. So it did slow the game down a little, but it wasn't necessarily all a bad thing, because I was more engaged with other people's turns and focused on the game from that sense.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, as you sort of said, it provides that unpredictability, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't know what state this board is going to be in by the time it hits your turn, which does mean you kind of can't pre-think about what you're going to do too much, but at the same time it means it's new and exciting. The game can change quite dramatically as it plays along.
Yeah. Any overall statements?
Look, overall, I really enjoyed this game.
Yeah,
I think you enjoyed the game as well. I think
enjoyed it a lot.
Had a lot of fun with it. So we played this with 3 different groups, including my niece, who's 13 years old, and every single person that we've played with has enjoyed this game. The common
gaming groups and people who don't game.
Yeah, exactly. The common feedback is just that the game was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so I can't really say too much more on that. The game is fun. It is a lighter game, and I think the odd thing there is it's a lighter game, but I think a gamer is going to pick this up and enjoy it, understanding that it's a lighter game, but also you could very easily play this with your family. So,
and I think the fact that it's co-op as well helps with that, being able to get it out and play with the family, because it's not competitive and it just is more fun to win or lose together. We're a team.
Yep. And with, like I sort of said, I think gamers are going to get to enjoy this as well. I really like the difficulty options here. So, you can ramp up the difficulty, and it feels challenging, and arguably more so if you ramp up the difficulty to the point where you're drawing 2 cards off the bat. it's just frantic fun. I have no idea how you win on that mode, but it's enjoyable from the get-go. You know, you feel up against it the whole time, and that is fun, especially because everyone's in the same boat. You know, all the players are together. You're battling up against these heroes that are just coming in and trying to figure out how you win in that mode. I think is going to provide enjoyment for anyone really that likes a puzzle game.
Yeah. So I think we both really enjoyed it, and would definitely recommend you check it out.
Awesome. All right. Well, yeah, thank you very much, guys. Thank you for watching. We're Board Down Under. Hope to see you again.
Bye.
Bye.